Welcome back to my channel, Escobar Mindset. And today, I'm going to talk to Mrs. Escobar. We're going to talk about the origins of Mr. and Mrs. Escobar, marriage, ups and downs, and just life in general, how we came to be. So I want to talk to you today about like the origins, how we started, how Mr. and Mrs. Escobar came to be. So let's tell them how we met.
How we met. Yeah. We met, well, I had the actually meeting, like speaking to each other the first time we spoke.
Yeah.
It was in the gym. Of course, right? That makes sense.
Of course.
It was in the gym, 24-hour fitness, Cottle Road, San Jose.
But isn't it crazy that for years we saw each other and we didn't say one word to each other?
That is true. 2007, I got my membership. Mind Pump Adam signed me up for a membership for 24-hour fitness. He tried to sell me personal training at the time. I declined. There's no way. I was married at the time. This is 2007. My husband would have never gone for me having a personal trainer. But I always wanted one, though. I did. I wanted one because I really wanted to take my body to the next level.
I got to shout Adam out, man, because Adam, if you ever listen to this, you're the reason why my wife and I are here. Why we made it this far, why we married, everything. You know, shout out to Adam, give me a job opportunity at 24-hour fitness. Mm-hmm. And 2007 is when I started. Actually, I got hired on in May. Went to some class for 24-hour where they train you around June. And, you know, that's kind of when I became official. I was a trainer for them.
So, yeah, when I got my membership, you had only been barely just started working there, too. So we both started at the same gym at the same time. You working and me attending.
What's the coincidence of that?
Yeah.
Never would have thought like, and I saw you on the machine. I remember he used to tell me, go talk to that girl over there. She was, nah, I'm good. She looked like she's just minding her business to herself.
But explain, why did he ask you to go talk to me?
Well, Adam had this thing where always he wanted us to talk to all the members, acquaint ourselves with them, ask them, not just try to sell you, but just get to know you as a member. You know, that was the thing. That was my approach, is I never try to come up to you and do a cold sale. I try to get to know you as a person, as a member first, break the ice, and then let you know, advise you, like, if you ever have any questions about any machines or working out, I'm here. Feel free to ask.
It's still the same method that works with people, too, to sell coaching or whatever.
It is.
You have to kind of, like, connect with them beforehand before you ever expect anything in return from them.
You do. But never in a million years I thought I'd connect with you like that.
Yeah, so that was 2007. Obviously, I continued to go to that gym for years. Cardio bunny, though, just cardio.
Yeah.
It was my first time ever having a gym membership. Isn't that crazy?
That was your first one ever?
Yes. I did not exercise before that.
Damn, you're late to the game. Yeah. Wow.
So 2007, I started exercising. And then fast forward to I got separated in late 2010. And at that time, I thought to myself, I'm going to do something for myself that I've always wanted to do, because I wanted to change my body. I was very skinny, and I wanted to change my body. And now that I wasn't in a marriage that wouldn't be happy with that. And I also, you want to, like, whenever you break up or whatever, you want to, like, you're back on the market.
Always.
So I wanted to hire a trainer. And I obviously was going to that gym, and you were the only one at the time, no offense to anyone who was there, but you were the only one that looked like you really were a fit person.
That was about that life, huh?
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? So I want to tell people this is, even though we never spoke, I always kind of I was intrigued by you because you're kind of like a mystery woman. You're kind of to yourself. You looked like you had that, just very serious, like you didn't want to be bothered. I go, I wonder if she's a nice person or not. What kind of person is she? And the minute like we broke the ice over a sanitizing machine, you went over there to use a hand sanitizer, so did I. And you were like, oh, it's out. And then I said something back to you, and I was like, your response was like a good response. I was like, okay. And I'm an energy person. I vibe.
Yeah.
But if it would have been like standoffish or you thought you're all that in a bag of chips, I'd have been like, oh, hell no. This girl ain't cool.
And I mean, honestly, though, it was the perfect timing, because I was separated from my husband, and I was already like ready. I was primed and ready to hire a trainer.
Yeah.
Right? And then we had that encounter at the sanitizer machine, because had we had that encounter before my separation, you would have picked up on a cold vibe from me, because I would have been like extremely like standoffish, like, oh, I can't talk to you. I'm married. Like, you know what I mean? Because especially in the type of relationship I was in, like, oh no, I would have given you a different vibe. So it was so perfect that we happened to have that conversation after I was separated. And it was very close, though. It was like not long after. And we just kind of hit it off with that conversation. And I was already ready to buy training at that time. So it was like the perfect storm.
That's crazy because, again, that just goes to show you in life, timing is everything.
Yeah.
If it would have been a little too soon, I would have got a felt your energy a different way. I'd be like, nah, I'm good.
I still give off that energy, though. That's just who I am. Now you know me. See, I was mysterious. You didn't know what to expect. I'm a nice person, but I just give off, like, don't talk to me vibe.
And I think that's why you rub people the wrong way in a weird way. They get intimidated by you. They don't know how to read you sometimes.
Right.
They try their best, but until they really get to know you and know who you are and know you're not that person, they get intimidated. Because someone said that to me on DM. They're afraid to talk to her. Oh, she's nice. Talk to her. Go ahead, shoot her a message. About her services.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, they get intimidated.
But I mean, yeah, I guess. I think my clients get to know me pretty fast, though. But it's an interesting thing. I'm wondering if I should ask them. Am I intimidated?
Get the feedback. Like, what do you guys think of me before you got to know me?
Yeah, like just from seeing me on like social media and stuff.
Because I had you painted a whole different person.
Yeah, so then after that conversation, you asked me for training, and I was like, if I wanted a free session.
Yes.
And I was like, perfect. Yes, I do.
I wanted to see how I vibed with you.
Yeah.
How you vibe with me. If you like the training.
Yeah.
Put you through it. Show you what I know. Know that I know what I'm doing, because there's a lot of trainers that, let's be honest, do not.
Right.
And like you said, you got to fit the part too. I think that's what's going on with today. The problem is a lot of trainers aren't fitting the mold like they should.
Right. No, I agree with that. That's why I hired you. That's why I would hire any profession. If I'm going to go look for a hairdresser, she's going to have amazing hair.
Right.
If my dentist is going to have perfect teeth. That's what I look for. So that's important. Like you want it to match the profession, because then they know what they're doing.
So when you hired me as your trainer, did you ever think in a million years you end up with me? You had to know I was kind of a wild, crazy dude. Because you're an energy person. You're not dumb.
End up with you permanently, like married to you? No, absolutely not. I thought we would fool around for sure. I was in that mode. I was like wilding out. It was going to be my single summer. Yeah. So I was in that. So yeah, did I think that? Absolutely, for sure. But no, I was dating like multiple people. Yeah. I kind of hit the ground running with my single life, because I had been married since I was 20 years old. I had never really dated. I never had like an adult dating life. I wanted to see what dating was like. And of all the people that I dated, you were probably the last person I thought I would end up married to. Not because I just felt like you were the wild one to sow the oats kind of thing, but not a serious, not relationship material.
You're right. I really wasn't. It took a while to come around. And the crazy shit is I thought like, okay, she's coming out of a marriage. I know what it's like coming out of a relationship. There's no way this girl's going to want to like get serious, And I didn't want to take you off the market, because in a real way I felt guilty. Like, she deserves to be single. She's been married all these years. Yeah. Who the fuck am I to get her off the market? You know what I'm saying? I felt selfish in a weird way when we started getting more serious.
But again, it was the perfect storm. It was the perfect timing, because I wasn't going to be the Klingon girl, because I had other stuff going on. I was newly single or whatever, so I wasn't trying to get you in a relationship or asking you all those typical questions. Where are we at? Because I was perfectly fine just dating for a while, right? And my intentions were to do that even through the summer. So the fact that we started to get serious was truly because it happened organically and naturally. Neither one of us intended it to happen.
No.
Because we both were like, we were fine with the way things were. So it was interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem with a lot of people these days, is they try to push the issue too fast, too soon. Yeah. That's where they mess up. Because I was single a lot longer than you were. Yeah. And the minute I date women, 2 weeks into it, they're like, so where are we? Or they already want to lock me down, like, we're nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you're tripping. I'm not right now. Not especially when I first became single. I did not want to be in no relationship. I was adamant about that. I put it out there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but I want to kind of enjoy my single manhood, you know?
Well, I think that's the problem with relationships, though, because they're seeking a relationship.
Yeah.
And then whoever fits that mold, they plug into the title of relationship. Oh, I'm going to get this guy, plug him in. And,
Yeah.
and then what happens is you're seeking a relationship instead of building a relationship with somebody and then it becoming a relationship.
Yeah.
I see the same thing with a lot of young people who want to get married. I feel like the girls want to get married because they want the Instagram wedding, they want the shower, the bachelorette party, they want it to be wedding season, they want to be a fiance. But do you want the husband?
That's so true.
They skip that. They don't
do.
want the husband. They skipped over all the important things of, are we compatible? Is our relationship good? Because they're so obsessed with the idea of just being married and not really the person itself.
They don't think it through.
No.
They rush it, young people.
Yeah.
So what was the difference between us and your previous marriage? Obviously, you're much younger, so you didn't have the experience, but...
Compatibility.
Yeah.
We just weren't compatible. And it was it's a simple answer. I think sometimes people want to know like all these, like, oh, it had to be something big. But no, at the end of the day, what boiled down to our problems, all of our problems came because we were not compatible. It wasn't the other way around. It wasn't like we had the problems and then we grew apart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The problems came because we weren't compatible.
And everybody's always looking for these elaborate answers and
Yeah.
to a perfect marriage or relationship. Well, why did it fail, or why aren't we clicking? You just gave an answer.
Yeah.
Compatibility.
Yeah,
It's so
because
true. You have to get along at the end of the day.
You have to just get along in everyday life. Just get along, have similar interests. You can't get past that because when the shit hits the fan, if you don't get along, if you just don't get along, it's gonna be really difficult.
It's going to crumble.
Yeah, so I felt like the difference with us were we were very compatible.
It was almost too easy.
Yeah.
And I used to think, like, hearing from not me past, but my friends who've been previously married were like, bro, you don't want to ever get married. Forget that. It's a lot of work. That's what I always hear. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So I had in my head, like, I don't want to fucking work in a relationship. What the
Yeah.
fuck you mean work? What do we got? What work is it?
I know. I still hear it to this day. So people say like relationships take a lot of work. Look, I'm not saying that they don't take any work, but for the most part, I don't call it work.
No,
It's not the right word.
no.
You know?
I think communication's big.
Yeah, but I just feel like what makes us work today, and we're going to have our 10-year anniversary here soon, 10 years married, is the same thing that got us together when I was intending to have a single summer. It's the same thing that keeps us together now that did then. We're compatible. We're just really, really compatible.
It always goes back to that,
Yeah.
regardless.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Everything else, because we move the same, we kind of think the same. I don't know, just all of the things that were a serious problem for me in previous relationships are the positive in this relationship.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, as a problem if I'm, too independent or not super affectionate, that's always been a problem for me, right? But then in this relationship, it's a bonus. Like, oh, you're like, oh, great. You're not going to get mad because I didn't tell you, I haven't told you I love you in 26 days.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit you down and be like, hey, can we have a conversation? You haven't even, given me a hug in like 2.5 days. Do you know what I mean? But a lot of
Yes.
relationships are like that. And I'm not saying that those are bad things, but you need to find people that are compatible with your way of giving and receiving love. And because we're compatible in that way, that's why we work.
I never thought I'd find the fucking female version of me. I just think something's wrong with me because I'm not compatible, affectionate. I don't tell you 20,000 Hail Marys, I love you. You know what I'm saying? Like every day. No, I don't. And people, and women get triggered probably more than men because they think you don't love them because they want to hear it come out of your fucking mouth every day. And I think that also comes down to insecurity. They're not secure with themselves. Has to be something there.
Maybe love languages boil down to.
That's true too. Love languages.
But maybe love languages are created because of the way you were raised and child traumas and different things. That's why love languages are created. Yeah. But it's still important that you find, and it's okay if you are a person that's how you feel love. Like, you can't feel love if someone does something for you. You have to feel love. They have to tell you, or else you won't feel love. They can bring you, breakfast in bed, and you won't feel love based off the breakfast in bed because they didn't say I love you. You'll still text them when they got to work like, hey, thanks for the breakfast in bed, but you didn't even tell me I love you, and they'll disregard it. So it just depends. Everybody is different, and I do think it is possible to have a good relationship with someone who has a different love language than you if you are willing to give them their love language. If you're willing to love them in the way they need to be loved. That's even if it's not your way, but if you're willing to do that, and you can do that. But it's still harder to do it that way.
That's hard.
It's really hard.
Lie, because it's not natural.
Right.
And if I can't be in my natural state or be myself, it's going to be tough to be an
You'll
actor.
always have to course correct. Yes. And you'll always have to have a sit down every few months and get you back on track. Vice versa. It goes both ways.
Yeah.
But because we both receive love kind of in the same way, it's acts of service, like just doing things for each other, being thoughtful and doing things for each other without having to ask, just picking up on the other's needs. I think that's why we get along.
And we're foodies too. We love food. I know your love language. Like, let's go eat.
Yeah, my love language is food. So it's gifts and acts of service, but the gifts can be food. So I see, like, if I'm about to get out of bed after I just got comfortable, and I can't tell you how much this has happened hundreds of times probably in our marriage. I'm just got comfortable, and then I realized I forgot to get my little nighttime snack. And right as I'm like about to get out of the bed, you walk in, and I'm like, I gotta go get my snack, and you're like, and you'll pull it out of your pocket. Like, that is love. That is love to me, because you thought of me and think, oh, I know she likes her nighttime snack,
Yeah.
Or you'll say, where are you going? I'm like, I'm gonna go get a snack. You're like, it's right behind you. Like, it'll already be in the basket.
Now, do you think we know each other so well? So check this out, you guys. It's kind of crazy. I've never fucking dated a woman with the birthday damn near next door to mine. She's January 28th. I'm the 24th. The coincidence of that, I'm a year older than her, but do you think that plays a huge part?
I do, because I'm a believer in the signs.
I know a lot of people don't believe in the signs. I know,
but I do, because a lot of the things that make me kind of a unique person, hard nut to crack, hard to figure out, is directly attributed to my sign.
Yeah.
And you're the same sign, and all those same weird kind of like quirky things you just automatically get. Whereas other people have had, it was always a problem. And like, well, the other thing is, like, you just accept me for who I am because I like me instead of trying to change me. Like, instead of coming home, hey, like, I know, you don't like to make small talk with strangers, but can you go make small talk with strangers? Like, you won't ask me to do those things. Whereas in the past, I've been asked, like, to do those things when I don't want to do those things.
No. Or even dress down or cover yourself up. I'm sure you've been asked some crazy shit in the past.
Yeah, I just wanted to be me.
Yeah.
But I believe that's an Aquarius trait. Very, very anti-authority. Very anti-authority.
Yes. Yeah. I can attest to that. Very.
We appear to be detached emotionally, but actually, the truth is we're actually not at all. Very emotional people, but it's very deeply internal emotion.
Yeah.
But to somebody else, we appear detached emotionally at times.
So what would you tell these men or women listen to this podcast since we met in the gym? What advice would you give them, like, to meet your mate, and possibly even in the gym? Because we spend a lot of time, for those who will work out, we spend a lot of time in the gym. And there is people that we kind of lock eyes with but are too afraid to say something, vice versa. Either man afraid to say something to a woman, or woman's afraid to say something to the man.
I think it goes down. It's the same thing you described earlier about how to get a new client. It applies in relationships too. Break the ice, find common interests, Don't expect anything. Don't ask for their number right away. It's all the same. It's like copy paste. It's the same like methods, but just applied to different areas. So I think meeting someone to date is the same as meeting someone to be a friend or meeting someone to be your client. It's kind of all the same thing. You don't want to go for the kill.
Yeah.
You don't go for the kill. You connect on some level, emotionally, some level. You'll connect on something. It'll be like a dog. Oh, I have a dog. Oh, what kind of dog? Oh, I grew up with that kind of dog. As soon as you have a similarity,
boom,
that's
bingo.
it. The chemicals start to.
You're right.
And it doesn't mean, I'm not only talking about sexual, because this is in every aspect, even a client. Like if you're, we're both online coaches. A lot of times I'm sure the reason why a client has approached me is because somehow, some way, on some show, I've said something that they could relate to, that was relatable in their life as well. They're like, oh, connection.
Yeah.
You have to make a real connection on some regard. So the best way to do that is to put yourself in places where you'll already have a common interest. And that's why the gym is such a good place to meet someone if you are truly a gym goer. Now, if you're not, don't go meet someone at the gym because they are a gym goer. That is a big part of their life. If you're not and you're not planning on doing that, don't be a phony baloney because it'll come back to bite you. It's kind of like if I want to meet a guy, I want to go to UFC fights to meet a guy, and I'll go there and pretend I'm all into UFC fighting. You're going to go meet someone that's into the fights, and then you start dating, and they want to spend their every Saturday night watching the UFC fights, and you're pissed, and they're like, well, I thought you liked it. You don't really like it. You lied. You just wanted to go meet some hot fighters. You thought you were going to go to the UFC fights and meet some hot fighters, but put yourself in situations.
I like what you say there because I think a lot of people, they conform to what other people are into and they're not really into it. And it comes out later on because I'm into fighting. I've been like that since you've met me, since day one.
Yeah.
I have friends who are professional fighters. I actually have friends who fought in the UFC and Bellator and all those major organizations. So,
yeah. Did I ever pretend that I was like some hardcore fan?
No.
I'm not opposed to it, but I didn't pretend I was a fan. But I know you are. So it doesn't bother me when you're watching fights. But I didn't pretend like we were gonna be like arm in arm for every fight, and I was gonna be like shooting off stats and stuff like that. But I see that a lot. I see that so much.
I know.
I see people fake the funk to match with somebody.
Yeah, like all of a sudden, you understand football, but imagine if you didn't and they scored a touchdown. Go, wow, did he hit a home run? This girl's fucking ditzy. She doesn't understand this game. She's just pretending.
Yeah,
she likes it to appease me, which I think is bullshit. You're right. I don't.
Because the key to making a connection with someone is like having a similarity of some sort. So you'll cherry pick, but it's fine if you're listening to someone talk and you can cherry pick a bit of information they're saying and you can relate to it, because then that'll build a little instant mini bond, right?
Yeah.
But don't lie about it. So like if someone says like, oh, if you say like, oh, my pit bull, and I'm like, oh, I love pit bulls. I grew up with them. I have one, and that's not true. It's a fake. You're already starting on a fake connection. I think a lot of men do this. Like as pickup lines. They'll say, they'll come in, they make a little comment, and then you say something, and they try to connect. They'll try to say, oh, I do that, or I used to go there. Or why do you think that when people meet someone, they ask them right away stuff like, where'd you grow up? What high school did you go to? Because they want to find something to connect on right away, a similarity. Don't you ever notice that?
Yeah, you're right.
That's how we are as humans. We're trying to connect.
You're right. That's funny you say that because a lot of people will pretend, well, I grew up on pit bulls, so I see you have a pit bull and try to use like my dog to get in my good graces.
Yeah.
Like, oh, really?
Common. Yeah.
So what kind of breeds of pit bull did you grow up?
Yeah, a blue nose, a red nose, a purple nose. They don't know.
Yeah, no, they don't.
Yeah, so that's the thing, and it goes in both directions. But that's something I say: be really careful. Like, don't connect on false pretenses. It'll come back to bite you. And like I said, our meeting was a perfect storm. I was in a place in my life where I wanted to meet someone that knew everything about me, that we really, truly were compatible, that knew that I was not all the negative things about me. I'm not just saying, because again, what does everybody do? They put their best foot forward.
Oh, they paint the perfect picture, like
Right.
they can do no harm or
Right.
do no wrong, or
Yeah.
they're a clean slate. Like, no one's
Yeah.
a clean slate. Good luck
So
with
I
that.
didn't want to do that either. And so I think that's the benefit of coming from like I was older, obviously, I was in my 30s, mid 30s, so I wasn't a little girl anymore, and I'd been through a marriage, and I knew what I didn't want. I didn't want to make the same mistakes that I did. Because I don't know, I don't remember. We were so young, we were teenagers, my ex and I. I'm sure I probably did. I probably did do all those things. I don't know. I was young and dumb and probably, made it seem like I was someone I wasn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. But whatever it was definitely, there was major compatibility issues there, and that boiled down to the problems that caused the problems. And then the problems came from that.
Yeah. People overlook that so much. So what would you say is the ups and downs of marriages?
The ups and downs.
Yeah. Because, it's like a roller coaster ride, you say. Sometimes it's good, and then sometimes it goes down, sometimes it's up.
That's interesting. I think that you have to decide that you're going to stick to the mindset has to be, I'm going to see this through no matter what.
Yeah.
I think that has to be the mindset, because there's always going to be ups and downs. And again, I know I hate to relate everything to like back to what we do as a job,
Right.
but it's kind of the same thing if someone's starting a weight loss journey. If you have your mind that like, no matter what, no matter how many times I mess up, no matter how many times this gets really hard or
Yeah.
I fail, I'm not going to give up until I get to my goal. It's kind of like I think of that with the same mindset to relationships. You have to have that mindset like no matter what life throws at us, we're going to stick it through and we're going to stay together. But you can only do that if you formed a good bond on compatibility to begin with, because then you're compatible. That doesn't go away. You stay, those things at your core, who you are as people, will stay. So you'll always have that to fall back on, even when other stuff goes down. You know what I mean? Even if maybe intimacy is shitty for a while, or money becomes a problem, or whatever different things happen inevitably in life. They're gonna happen, but you're still you won't lose your compatibility.
Yeah. And you can't allow yourself to grow apart. We never grew apart.
Yeah, you have to foster the compatibility. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That has to be important to you to maintain some similar interests and do things together.
Always. You have to have the same. That's like, it's almost like you have to know each other without knowing each other. You have to know each other perfect.
Yeah.
Top to bottom,
You have to invest in knowing that your mate very well. You have to know them.
I think people overlook that. They don't do that. They don't get to know who they're with. And they start figuring out like, this isn't the person for me, but I'm going to stay in it anyways. Like, why would you do that? Too many people are doing that these days. Stay in a relationship they shouldn't be involved in.
Yeah, and there a lot of times relationships start and they get together based on, it's an oxytocin bond, right? It's just off the hormones.
Yes.
So if your bond is just off of like all those hormones, the hormones will go away at times. They will kind of like dissipate. The adrenaline and all of that's going to go away. Again, it goes, if you're not compatible, then why do they stay together? Because they are remembering the hormones that they had before, and they keep chasing it. They think it's still there and it's going to happen again, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
They're chasing that feeling again.
And what's crazy too is like, you competed and you got your body top notch to a place you've never been before. And I was kind of far behind, like, whoa. But I never got insecure about it, but you stayed loyal. And I think a lot of people wouldn't have. A lot of people would have started, their eyes would have been going in another direction because they're leaving their mate behind.
But you know what? Here's the thing. But let me touch on that.
We know this happens
Let
a
me
lot.
touch on that, though.
Yeah.
I decided I was ready to go on a journey that maybe you weren't ready to go on yet.
Yeah.
But you never discouraged me. You supported me, even though you didn't want to go on it yet. You're like, hell the F no.
Yep.
I'm going to eat that food and do what you're doing. But you supported me doing it and didn't feel some type of way about it. Because I think it would have been different had you had a problem with me doing that. Like it was a fight. Like I couldn't do this for myself because you felt insecure about it, but you didn't. Even though. So what happened with you though? You supported me in it, and then eventually you joined forces.
Yes, I used your coach.
Yeah, and you came on board, which it could have been the other. It could have gone the other direction, because a lot of couples, that's what happens, right? One decides to go on a fitness journey and change, and then the other one resists it, and then they're so the similarity that they had goes back to what I was saying. So they didn't protect, right, the bond, right? If you meet, you look a certain way, you move a certain way, you eat a certain way, you love to drink beer on Friday nights, and you tailgate and all of that, and you eat and you don't work out, and you do that together, and that's how you bonded. You go to football games together, and this is how you bonded, right? But then one of you changes your lifestyle. You kind of change, and suddenly you don't drink, you don't eat those foods. You don't, you spend your time at the gym, not at, watching football and all of that, right? And then the other one is still staying where you were, but now the bond is broken. So there's only two things that are going to happen, because when the bond and the similarities go away, one is either going to join you and now you form a new bond, a new common ground, or you split.
And we see this a lot.
Yeah.
It's sad. We see a lot of resistance where one will try to go on a journey and the other resist.
Yeah, it's really hard to live different lives like that. That's why, I think the key to succeeding is protect the fact that we're compatible. And that compatibility has shifted. Obviously, we're compatible at our core in our personalities and stuff, but our compatibility in terms of how we live our lives has shifted, and luckily it's always stayed together, right? Because we used to party in Vegas and all that, but we did it together.
You're right. We're like wild animals, man. We turned a new leaf.
And then I broke away from that a little bit and joined the fitness community and all of that. But you didn't hold me back from that, even though you didn't want to do it at first. And I didn't force you. And I never even tried to get you to do it or anything. The only thing I can tell you is when I was doing those things, I noticed more how poor your lifestyle was. I did notice it.
Yeah.
But I didn't, not to the point where it became an issue yet, but not to say that it wouldn't have eventually become an issue had you not followed suit. I don't know, because that didn't happen. You ended up jumping on board.
Well, you probably saved me. If you think about it, the way I ate back then and drank the way I did back then, I'd have continued on.
You'd have had a stroke for sure earlier. Yeah.
That would have killed me.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much for a stroke to kill you.
No, I know.
I just read something about a dude in the Philippines. He's like a food blogger dude and ate a ton of fried chicken, just stuff in his fucking face. Poor guy didn't have money for meds. After he got money for that, whatever he did, he went to go get meds. It was too late. He had a stroke and died. Blood pressure went through the roof.
Yeah.
All that fried chicken he was eating.
Scary.
I was like, whoa, that's telling me like fried foods is a no-no for me.
No, instant inflammation.
Quick.
Yeah.
So, I got to say something, though, man. You're solid because I put you through a real test. It's almost coming up on 5 years. Mm-hmm. The elephant in the room. When I try to unalive myself, you guys, this one saved me because I was in a bad, bad place. It's almost like a blur to me. Like, sometimes I wonder, did that even happen? Did I do that? And why did I do that? I still question myself. What got me there? I know what got me there. I was playing around with pills I shouldn't have been playing with, and it took me to a dark place. Mm-hmm. I met my kryptonite. So how was that experience? Because you don't talk about it much for you. It must have been scary, and I never asked you about it. We kind of like kicked it to the side, and you've told me here and there, but have to be because you know me good. You're very compatible. You know when I didn't show up to your niece's birthday party, you know something was off.
Yeah, and I tried, and I knew immediately. You left right to you said you had to run an errand. We had a birthday party. We needed to be there at 1 o'clock. You said, I'll meet you there. Oh, no, you said, I'll be back in time.
Yeah. And
you weren't back. So it was 12:30 or so, and you weren't back. And I called. You weren't even late yet. And I called you, and the phone went straight to voicemail. And I instantly knew something was wrong. Instantly. I can't even describe it. I immediately knew something was wrong. I even said it to Tyler. I said, hey, something's off. My his phone's going to voicemail, blah, 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 something's off. So, you didn't show up. I went to the birthday party anyway, but I got there and I couldn't sit still. I was like, this is and people would have think I was crazy, like I'm overreacting. You were not that late. Yeah, okay, so, he probably got sidetracked, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But I knew something was up. I looked at Tyler, my son, by the way, and I said, hey, we got to go. We got to go find Mike. Something's up, and he left with me. And then I went on my pursuit to try to find you. And I contacted your family, and they thought I was crazy. I'll be honest. They thought I was overreacting, that, that you were probably fine, this, that, and the other. Gave me all, I said, something. And I felt like I was going to lose my mind because nobody would take me serious.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Like, nobody, you know what it was? You didn't know what happened, but you knew something was off.
No,
you felt, we have such a deep connection that you felt something.
Oh, yeah, I knew.
Like that mother instinct kicked in.
I knew it was bad. And the weird thing is, I didn't pick up on depression from you. I didn't pick up on it was depression. I knew something was going on with you, but because you were acting distant, short, distant, bad attitude, just not very nice for a few weeks, just like very grumpy, short, edgy. And I remember that weekend I was going to have to talk with you about it. Me, again, we talk. I'm not one to be like, hey, we need to talk. That's not my cup of tea. That's not how we operate. But I was going to have one of those moments with you, like, hey, we need to talk. But it was our cheat day that Saturday, and I thought I didn't want to ruin our cheat day because that was it was kind of like a date night back then. Was our cheat day. Of
course.
We'd go have fun. We'd have some drinks and have a meal. And so I didn't want to ruin Saturday, which was the day that you disappeared.
Yeah.
I wanted to do it. I was going to do it Sunday. So literally I was like one day too late. But I knew something was off. You were napping in the middle of the day. And if I asked you about it, you had an attitude about it. But you weren't going to the gym really. You were skipping the gym. And I was like, you're not going to CSA? And you'd get mad that I asked you. So I'm like, what the fuck is wrong?
I don't fucking remember that.
Yeah.
That's what's weird.
Yeah, you were very short. You were just an asshole, to be honest. And so it was more of like, I wasn't worried about you being depressed. I was more like, what the fuck why are you acting like an asshole? That was really, like, what is going on? I was trying to keep the peace. And so, yeah, when that happened though, it, like in the movies, when something happens and all of a sudden it does the rewind and it shows everything. It's like I rewinded. And I rewinded all the way back to like we had just gone to Mexico and you were acting weird there. And it's like my brain put everything together in the matter of seconds. And I thought, oh my God, he's going to go take his life.
That fast?
Yes. I did. I went into and so as soon as I figured that out, you know what I did? I ran into the bedroom.
Yeah.
And I went to the dresser. I saw your wedding ring on the thing. I'm like, oh my God. So what did I do then? I went into the bathroom and I looked for the bottle of Xanax and it was gone. That is when I got Tyler and I told him exactly what you were doing. And I said, we don't have a lot of time. We have to find him. And so we went on a fucking search party. I drove to your sister's to tell her what was going on, like what I thought was happening. Again, they thought I was crazy. Did not think that was the case. And so we left. And then we drove around to all the little like rinky-dink motels in the area. I did everything. I looked up your credit cards, your debit card, the bank. I called Apple to see if there was any way they could locate your phone. You had my car. So I tried calling the OnStar to see if they can activate the OnStar. I never activated the OnStar, but I was seeing if it was something they could do. I called the police. The police couldn't help me because sometimes adult men don't want to be found by their wives, is what I was told. I had to wait 24 hours.
It blew you off.
Yeah. So I had to wait 24 hours. So what I did was I didn't even spend the night in the house that night. I couldn't be in the house. So I went to all the little motels. I went to the last place you were. I had them pull the cameras. They saw that you turned left. Yeah. You were with a friend before you left. You were with a friend, and I was able to get in touch with him even though I didn't have his number. I got his number, and he took me to the place you guys were at, and he started recalling that you were acting a little off, a little weird, a little in your thoughts. And so we asked for the cameras, and they said that the car turned left out of the parking lot. So I went to every little motel all the way down that road. And then, yeah, I ended up, believe it or not, I was almost the motel, I was so close because the motel that you ended up at, I called. They had no vacancies or whatever that Saturday night. So I went to it. They sent me to their sister one. And I stayed at the one, their sister one is right by Orange Theory on Almaden. That's the one I stayed at.
Wow.
So I stayed at the sister hotel. It was the same hotel name, like down the street from where you were, the motel.
Man, this is a crazy, this is like some fucking movie type shit right here.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I didn't sleep all night. And then I was calling bail bondsmen just to make sure that like you weren't arrested or anything. That was the only thing. But I didn't believe you were. I just thought to myself, every hour that goes by is 1 hour less likely that you're going to be found alive.
Yeah. And the craziest shit is I was found alive the next day. But the moral of this story, you guys, is, pay attention to your loved ones as much as you can. Be careful with prescription drugs. They're dangerous. Xanax was my kryptonite. I've done many drugs in my life. Molly's, ecstasy, drank, weed, shrooms, GHB, done them all. But this one was the ultimate one that got me. This one got my brain, hacked me.
It's crazy because I waited the 24 hours that you were missing and filed the police report. I didn't actually wait a full 24. I lied to them and said you had been missing since the previous morning. It was 8 o'clock in the morning that I filed the police report. And I gave them all the information, the car and everything. And then it was the police that they put out an APB or whatever. So they already knew they were looking for a male that potential harm to himself or others. I had to say that you were potentially harm to yourself or others. And then, then I got a call from the police. And they didn't give me a lot of information, which was the scariest thing ever. They told me, is this Mrs. Escobar? We've located your husband. And I said, I thought they were going to say you were
deceased.
Yeah. And they said he's alive. But that's all they gave. That's all they said. And it's like he hesitated to say that. So I thought, oh my God, he's a vegetable. I look at Tyler, I'm like, he's a vegetable. I was a wreck. I was a complete wreck. And then I remember calling your sister and I was like, I told you. I knew it. Like I just freaking knew it. I knew it.
That's crazy. You knew it from the jump.
Yeah. So
something was off.
Yeah. So I went to the hospital and it was 2 hours before I knew. 2 hours from that phone call before I knew that you were not a vegetable.
I was still somewhat coherent, but I wasn't all the way there. I wish you would have took a video of how I looked because you said I looked terrible. I looked like I shriveled
They had
up.
you as like they didn't have like your name. I had to identify they asked me, they wouldn't let me go see you to identify you, but they said, can you describe him with identifying marks and things? And I said, oh yeah, I mean, he can't miss it. He's full of tattoos or whatever.
Yes.
And it was, so I thought, oh, he's not coherent. He's in a coma. You know how I am when I panic. So I just thought all these crazy things. I was a complete basket case.
Was I in a coma?
No, you weren't in a coma.
No, right?
No, you were probably out. Like you weren't
mind.
conscious.
Yeah. So this is the ups and downs of marriages, you guys. We're coming up on our 10-year, but the shit we went through, I mean, here we are years later, coming up on 5 years. We have our own podcast.
Yeah.
Thanks to her, pushed me to doing it. But, just want to keep it real, man. You don't want to be solid with you guys. And just let you know, life ain't, what do we call it? Sunshine and rainbows sometimes. You got your ups and downs.
No, and that's the moral of the story, I think, is because, like, when you think, I mean, that was bad. It was really bad. I remember being in the bed with you going through the withdrawals, and I think, like, man, I can't. I knew we would get through it. I never doubted that we would get through it, but I thought, I wish I could just hit the fast forward button because I knew it would get better. But I would just I wish we could hit the fast forward. But I knew that, because I'm a firm believer in that. Storms come, and you just weather them, and you come out on the other side.
You thought I'd come back to normal?
Yeah, I did. Once you got home, there was a time when you were in the loony bin that I thought that you might not be totally normal. I thought you were going to be like that guy, the character on Taxi. Remember Christopher Lloyd's character, Jim, on Taxi, how he was kind of like off his rocker?
Yeah.
Because I thought you weren't going to come back 100%. No. But I don't know. But after you got home, I started to see the light. But I knew we had a long road. And I thought, oh man, I got to buckle up because life is going to be really different. Everything about our lives changed because all the things we enjoyed doing, it's like we had to find new things that we enjoyed doing, new things that we were compatible with because everything changed. We used to go have our cocktails and party. We still, not party like Vegas party, but we partied together. Like we'd go on vacation, we'd get sloshed on vacation, be hungover, like, and that all went away because at that time, we gave up everything. I mean, you gave up everything for a time, which was nice. I wish you stayed that way. But then, and so I did too. I didn't drink and anything like that for a year. And then we started drinking again, which we should have never done, but we did.
That opened up the can of worms right there.
Yeah.
Stupid. And then eventually it led down to me smoking weed all over again.
Yeah.
Back to my old habits. I saw, as coaches, we try to tell people, like, it's not easy. Old habits die hard because your brain wants to go to what it knows. So guess what? If you're not doing good on eating, you're not going to change overnight. So it took a little while. It's been a journey.
Yeah. So you have to have your partner has to be with you. Man, whoever wrote the vows, but it has to be that way. If you really want your marriage.
What does it say, the vows? What does it say?
Sickness and health till death do us part. Good times, bad times.
Yeah.
But it's true.
Man.
Because if you give yourself an out, you're going to take the out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In everything in life. In anything. When the going gets tough, it's easy to just run away. It is. And if you give yourself an out, you're gonna take the out. So you just gotta not give yourself the out. You gotta think, oh well, we're gonna get through this. It's just another storm. We'll get through it. It's not the only storm we've been through. We've been through plenty. And I always just think eventually we're gonna get through and we're gonna look back going, man, that was tough. Just another notch on the belt. It won't be the last storm either. It's just that's life. And so you have to.
Life is gonna life.
Yeah.
And you, like you said, you gotta keep on fighting. Life's a fight. It really is. Relationships are a fight. Life's a fight. You're going to get tested. Things happen. I didn't think I was going to come out of that. I wasn't sure. I was scared. I was like a scared little boy. My brain went back to being a little kid. I wasn't sure how, I was lost.
It's scary when it's mental.
That's why.
Because you don't know if is your mind going to crack and you're going to be permanently, need to be committed kind of thing. Like what are we talking here? It's scary. It's very scary.
Yeah.
You got to understand what was scary for me. You didn't change your mind. You didn't go get committed to a hospital because you had a breakdown and we thought you might try to, unalive yourself. You failed. You tried and failed, but you intended to follow through. So in my mindset 100%. was, well, he's probably upset that it didn't work. So why is all of a sudden you're going to have an epiphany and now you want to live?
I was actually. Isn't that crazy? I felt like a failure. Like, fuck, I couldn't even get this right. I just felt like I was failing in all areas of life, that I wasn't worthy of being on this earth anymore. I'm telling you, my mind was elsewhere. It was dark.
But you know what happens a lot with mental health is when the how you perceive things to be are not how they are.
That part. What's crazy? I was listening to not to get off topic, but listen to a Joe Rogan podcast. He has, I can't remember the guy's name right now, but the guy said he knew someone that this dude told his mother since he was a kid, like one day he's gonna unalive himself. Wasn't sure when, but he's gonna do it. Fast forward, he's an adult male, has a family. I believe he said 2 young girls, and that day came. He unalived himself.
Oh, he did?
Yes, successfully. Just sad.
Why? That's so weird. Like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It's like he just
It was
knew.
some sort of
Something
suicidal ideation that he had in his brain.
Yeah. And I'm like, I never thought about suicide as a kid. I was a teenager or even a young adult. It never dawned on me. I've heard other people say that stuff that have thoughts. I've never had thoughts.
Yeah.
I've been incarcerated. I've been fucking drunk, drugged out of my mind. It never once crossed my mind. And then I take these goddamn Xanax pills. Makes me fucking psychotic. It changed my brain chemistry.
It's crazy.
And all of a sudden, and when I read that, suicide thoughts is one of the I said,
side effects. Yeah.
Shit. I remember looking in the mirror at myself and I was like, fuck, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
Never been hooked. I've done things, but not hooked where I can just stop cold turkey.
Yeah, and you were avoiding me. You were avoiding looking at me.
Yeah.
I remember that because I
That's
remember, what's he hiding? Something's wrong with this guy right now.
What did you think?
I just knew something was up. I knew something was up, and I was getting more and more angry. I wasn't worried because I didn't think it was that. I was just angry. Like, what the fuck is wrong with him? You know. So, but then, you know, obviously, when I pieced it together, and then it made sense. But yeah,
and that's what a lot of people suffer from with mental health, drug addiction. They won't look you in the eye. Because I had friends I called out. Looking back, one of my close friends, Los, when he was going through his bullshit with cocaine, I called him out. I remember he would never look at me in the eye. He was always looking down. I'm like, bro, you all right? What the fuck is wrong with you? And he'd go through his benders and looking back, and he told me, I go, oh, shit. I said, I acted just like you, bro. I wouldn't even look my wife in the eye.
Yeah, I mean, that's why, to be honest, that's one thing I told myself is if I feel something about you're doing something that I don't agree with or whatever, even though my nature is not to parent you or not to tell you what to do, because that's not who I am. And that's why you got so far, you know, because your family members did ask me that, like, how could you let this happen kind of thing?
Yeah.
Like, how did you not know? Like, they gave me the lashings.
Third degree, huh?
Yeah. You know, and I thought, because it's not how we operate. He's a grown man. I don't like question his every move. It's just not how we are. But I know since that happened, I'm a little more like, okay, if something is just like not right, I need to speak up.
Yeah.
Because the addiction specialist, when I had him on our show, Candidly with Coffee, he said that not doing anything when you know there is a problem is enabling. Yeah. Doing nothing is a problem. You can't do nothing and not accept responsibility in it. So if you sense something, you have to say something.
Yeah.
Whether they like it or not, because they're not going to like it.
No,
the addict is not going to like it. So am I more careful to watch where your like addictions and what you're kind of like turning to? Am I more careful about those things? Yeah, because again, then I faltered again, because when you started smoking weed again, I didn't like it and I had a problem with it. And I told you, we had a few altercations about it. Yep. And I don't like to live in the land of fighting, so I just let it go and thought, well, it's weed. It could be worse.
Lesser of the
I
evils.
thought, you know, it could be worse. So I kind of like chose peace, and I chose to let it go. And then I kind of like, I shouldn't have maybe let that go, because that got out of hand too.
It did. And you know what she's trying to tell you guys is addictions, man. They're fucking brutal. Like, they come, they go. I'm always going to be an addict. It's never going to go away. It's going to be in me. Now, I channel it into more positive things. You know, working out, coaching, reading positive books, just occupying my time in a good way, because the weed, it was getting out of control. It was holding me back.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, it was sometimes putting me in a depressed kind of state, questioning, why am I here? Not that I wanted to commit suicide, just what's my purpose?
Yeah.
Kind of like, I felt like stuck in the mud, like I wasn't advancing. So I knew once I got off of it, I started kind of, mental clarity is what I wanted.
Yeah.
I didn't want to, and it was hard. It was hard to let go of that. It wasn't easy. And people don't believe me. They think like, oh, you're just lying. Weed's not addicting. Fuck yeah, it is. You witnessed it firsthand what I went through in about a month in the bed.
Yeah, you know what the thing is too, is you don't know what something is doing to you until you choose to go without it for a little while.
Yeah.
Right? So you didn't know necessarily it was doing that to you until you have to get on the other side to see. Yeah. You know, so then that was, again, another like battle we had, which unexpected, because I didn't think that you quitting weed would have been, and that's a recent, you know, battle. So there was that. And then right after that, you had your stroke. So it was just kind of like, you know, so for people that think like, you know, but
they see us now, but
it's, you know, you have to just keep going. But life is just going to life. It life's for us too.
Yes, it does. We're not immune from it. We're normal human beings.
Yeah.
What was that, like going on 6 months when I got hit with that stroke? Almost
6 months. Yeah, it was right after your birthday.
It's fucking crazy. I'm still here though. I'm meant to be here. The universe has bigger plans for us.
I hope so.
So, well, you guys, there you have it. The ups and downs, how we came to be, Mr. and Mrs. Escobar. And just to show you guys, we're not perfect, but we've battled through and we're still here. Fight for your love, man. Fight for your relationships. Don't give up. And fight for yourself. That being said, peace.